All right, we're at the Warfield in San Francisco with Mark Mothersbaugh of Devo.
Hello.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm all right, in spite of all the rain.
Yeah. Bad weather out here. So are you ever nervous before these shows? I mean, you look very relaxed hanging out with your Devo gear right behind you.
I don't ever get nervous.
Yeah.
I sometimes get depressed, but never nervous. I don't know what it is. There's like something and it's like usually like an hour before the show, and I get like this kind of like depression thing, and then right before, and then after we go on, then it all goes away instantly once we start the show. But I heard that there's something to that sports people are now doing things like they like to sleep for a half hour right before they play basketball or soccer or something. People football. That there's like there's something to it, that some people sleep up to 2 hours. They have to sleep up to 2 hours right before they go on and play a game. So maybe that's what it is.
So you're going to be sleeping before tonight, or you've not caught on to that yet?
Well, unfortunately, we never have the right scenario. There's always too many people,
Like me, people like me.
No, this is great. We're like hours ahead of the show. The show's not till like how many hours? Like another 6 hours. I can't count, but it's quite a few hours away from here.
And people have always described you as a down-to-earth rock star, because you are a rock star at this point. Do you ever feel like a rock star, or how do you keep grounded, especially in this business?
I felt like a rock star for about 2 weeks in 1977, right between the time that David Bowie said, "This is the band of the future. I'm going to produce them in Tokyo this winter," and we were all sleeping in a van that night on the streets of New York City, and we thought, well, that sounds good to us, for about 2 weeks, I felt pretty good, and then not long after that, we signed a record deal, and everything was downhill from there.
And do you like scoring movies, or do you like this lifestyle better? I mean, would you rather be on stage, or would you rather be somewhere, kind of hanging out, just scoring?
Honestly,
yeah.
I like to write music, and I love to. I don't know. A lot of people think they want to write music for film, and then they try it, and then it's not their cup of tea because it involves a lot of cooperation. But being in Devo, it's like it was two sets of brothers, and everybody always collaborated on everything we did. Everybody put in their 2 cents worth, and it was not like one person running the band. So to me, I feel comfortable in a collaborative situation. Live shows it's just a matter of how many we can do before we start dying off, because we're getting old now. It's like when we were in our early 20s, we'd cannonball off the stage and felt invincible. And now everybody's either over 60 or pushing 60 right now. So it's a whole different thing, and I never thought I remember when I was turning 30, I was like 28 or 29. I remember being on stage somewhere going, I'm not going to be able to do this for too many more years. I remember thinking that. I mean, going, I can't do this. This is too hardcore. And somehow we're doing some version of it tonight. So.
And everybody still wants to see this version, though, so that's a good thing that you can still tour. I mean, especially in the music industry, it's a fickle industry, Are you appreciative that you can still come out here and fans love you guys, and you're selling tickets at $100?
Yeah, what the heck? It's like it seems like people that have better things to do with their money. I agree with you on that. It's like there's all these kids that got bands, but I think what it is about going to see older bands now and then is just we're kind of like making a historical, journey for some people, to go back and just say, okay, now look how much further things are now than they were back then. And it's really true. It's like the band opening up for us would be too radical to even be on a bill with us, 20 years ago. And they're really great. They sound to me like they could be like David Russell's next, the soundtrack for David Russell's next movie or more. No, Darren Aronofsky. They sound more like a Darren Aronofsky soundtrack. And I think that kids are coming out and Octopus Project plays, and then they're all clapping, and there's a lot of people that know the music. I'm really impressed with that. I really love that kids have such a I think kids today have a much more sophisticated acumen about music.
Yeah.
They know so much more. I mean, the internet's really done so much of that, because you can say, I wonder what any band that you can think of, I wonder what they sound like now, and I wonder what they sounded like, old ones like Devo. You say, what did they sound like 40 years ago? And you just hit a couple buttons on your computer, and you can find that stuff out. It's a really great time to. I would love to be 20 years old right now and be just starting in a band or just starting to write music, because you don't have to do anything the same way you did when I was younger. When I was younger, it was like ox carts and horse, and like wagon wheels and stuff. Rock and roll was really primitive back then, and pop music and what you were allowed to do and what it took to be considered too weird for the radio was, so tame back then. And now it's like anything you can think of, and kids, they don't need to wait for permission from a record company to go to an expensive recording studio and make an album. Nowadays, kids can, they can take their phone. There's more, sophisticated recording power in a telephone than there is than the Beatles had when they were recording their first album. It's like these kids can do multi-tracking and stuff, and you don't have to ask anybody's permission. You just write whatever you feel like writing. You don't have to be censored by, A&R people or radio people or anything. And then you don't have to wait for somebody to put it on the radio anymore. Now you just make your own website. The same night you write the song, you make up your own website and you post it yourself. I totally love what's going on in the world right now. I totally love the technology for music and for art. Yeah, I wish I had more energy. That's the thing about being 60. It's like it kicks your ass, from my energy level.
I'm thinking of a Lady Gaga Devo tour. You guys have the same philosophy. You should that should be a future tour, I think. You think that would be a good fit? Are you a Gaga fan? You sound like you would like her style. Any contemporary, yeah. I met her, and I was kind of, a little bit dismissive, because I'm so far from being somebody on the cutting edge of what's going on in music. You know everything, and you know all the bands. I don't. I'll tell you what I do in my life. When we're done playing these shows with Devo, I go back to a room where I sit with, keyboard and computer and a screen, and I watch TV shows and movies that need music, and I sit there, in a room just writing stuff, and I come out of work after doing that for 10 or 12 hours. You're so exhausted. It's like your ears don't need to hear more music all the time. So I can't keep up with everything. I depend upon people to tell me what's happening that's interesting. So I finally saw Lady Gaga last year, and she's really good. She's really talented, and it's like she's not the new David Bowie, but she has a lot of people that are giving her guidance, and she could be like a really, she's already an important force, in pop music, but she could really have something great to say. Right now she doesn't. She just keeps talking about her little monsters, and she doesn't really have any depth to what there's not a depth yet, but it's just because she's a kid, and she's talented as hell, though. And I love some of the music is just really catchy, and it sounds really special. So I like her. Yeah, I'd love to tour with her. We met because we were talking about doing a song or something together, and then, she's kind of like just kind of on a leash, being led around by the people that are making so much money off of her. They're just like making her work constantly, do stuff. So I don't know. It'll probably happen eventually, but it has to fall into her when her orbiting is in the right spot to do it. Well, look out for that, definitely. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about was most people in the music industry say school. You don't need school. I did this on my own, but you're one of the people that I've heard talk about go to school. Figure stuff out. And I would like to go to music school. What do you think about education?
I'll tell you. I went to college, and I probably wouldn't have. There was a good chance I wasn't going to go. I was just going to be a musician and go do that. And it was because my family, they were all coal miners. And it was just by a lucky fluke. It was a combination of the year that I was graduating. I think Secretary of Defense was McNamara at the time, but it was one of the years where they pulled ping pong balls out of a thing, and if your birthday was on it, that was the draft. They did the draft on TV, and they did the draft pick. So you knew they were going to hand you a gun, and you were going to go to Vietnam and try to not get killed and shoot at people that you had no idea who they were or why you were even shooting at them, because, so it was a combination of that, and I got a partial scholarship from Kent State for my visual arts. It was just my now the school system in this country is like so beaten down that I don't even know if they do that for anything other than sports anymore. But there was a time where kids that were in danger of not going to school beyond high school, they gave out these little things in Ohio, believe it or not, at Kent State to some of the local schools, and if you were like an outstanding student in art, for instance, you could get a little bit of and I thought, well, that was just enough to make me want to do it. And I studied art while I was at school. I wish I would have had a crystal ball, and I would have studied composing, because I had to learn on the job when I started scoring films, and it took me a while to get to the point where I could work with orchestras and stuff. But I think school's a good thing. I don't think it's necessary in life, but I think it's especially for kids who don't really know. I wasn't ready to go out in the world when I graduated from high school. I was really kind of unfocused, and it helped me focus a little, I think, to go to school. I just think it's good to have tools if you can. It's really hard nowadays, because now it's even more expensive than ever. It's really tough. But I think school is good for kids. Yeah, my regret is that I didn't study music when I was at college. But
here you are, though. So
Yeah, I stumbled into it by accident in a way.
Yeah. And so, what do I need to do to be a member of Devo? What do I need to do? I need to be a member of Devo before. It's on my bucket list.
Just be patient. I think there's not an unlimited amount of shows that Devo is going to be able to perform. I mean, we're getting old. You watch us tonight, you'll see a couple stumbles here and there. You might see somebody. You see somebody clutch their chest and start to go down to their knees. Run up there, grab the instrument, and take over.
Got it. So
and then you got yourself a position in the band.
There you go. Keep my number on speed dial then.
Well, I might be the one to go, so
you might, yeah.
You're going to have to just be around.
You look okay to me, though. You look like you're ready to go tonight, and they're on tour. You got a long tour coming up. Is that a lot of shows this year?
No,
not a lot, but
it's fragmented right now.
Yeah.
We're in a fragmented state, and as the other band members would be quick to tell you, a lot of it's my fault, and it's last summer when we were touring, I took a bunch of work and deferred it to this year, and now it's a bunch of movies and some TV stuff. So now I have to do it.
But check out Devo when they come around, and they're online everywhere, of course, devo.com. And thanks, Mark, for sitting down with us. I appreciate it.
Our goal is to stay alive until we get to your city.
There you go. The Devo tour this year, staying alive until they get to your city. Thanks, Mark.
Okay.